In this video, I want to talk about Evolution AB and the fact that Ken Dart has been buying more shares. So this gentleman is now the largest shareholder of Evolution AB, and we learned this, I don't know when I will release this video, so I suspect that it will be on Friday. We learned this yesterday from your point of view, and the stock is up. The stock is up 4%. As of today, when this information was released, we learned that Ken Dart has been buying 5% additional more shares. So in this video, you will learn 1. Who is Kenneth Dart? 2. What has been the past transactions, the past investments he made? 3. What has been the results of these transactions? 4. What can you expect from shareholder point of view? If you are a shareholder of Evolution AB, what will change for the thesis of Evolution? Maybe the stock will go up. What can we expect? Maybe more capital allocation policy. Will he be an activist of the stock? This is what you will get out of this video. I will show you some charts, some elements that I hope will give you some value. So we can start. In case this is your first video from this channel, welcome. My name is Christophe Nour. I've been investing in the stock market for almost a decade now, and I have achieved a performance of 25% per year, and I own Evolution. So obviously I follow the news, what is happening with the market. Okay, let's start. Ken Dart now owns 15% of Evolution AB. Does it matter? I checked Twitter and I saw this news, so I did some due diligence on who is this gentleman. It's one of the most secretive billionaires in the world, but his investment moves often makes headlines. He recently increased his stake in Evolution AB to 15%, making him the company's largest shareholder. I will show you in a few minutes that first he bought a 5% ownership in Evolution, and then he bought more to 10% ownership, and now he's bought more to 15% ownership. I will show you the timeline, it will be much clearer. But who is Kenneth Dart? And what does his involvement mean for Evolution? Let's break it down. Yes, this is a summary from ChatGPT. I just gave him a couple of notes, so here is a summary well written by ChatGPT. Who is Ken Dart? This is a billionaire that was from the US originally, but then lived abroad. He is worth approximately $5 billion, very, very secretive. And he's the former heir of the Dart Container Corporation, the world's largest manufacturer of foam cups and containers. His father did this, his grandfather did this. We are talking about a rich, wealthy family worth a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. And he has a couple of brothers. And when he was younger, Ken Dart became the president of this big family structure, this company. And now you have different brothers that are sharing different part of this business, and they used some of the salary, some of the proceeds to do their own lives basically. And Kenneth Dart used some of the proceeds to invest in the stock market or in private debt, and this is the reason why he is investing in Evolution AB. So just for context, he is not a pure investor. This is a businessman from a rich family that used some of his time on earth to make the business thrive, the family business thrive, and used some of the net worth to invest in the stock market. We are not talking about somebody from Wall Street. This is what I try to say. He renounced his US citizenship in the 90s to avoid taxes, and now he holds multiple passports from Belize, Cayman Islands, and Ireland. He owns a lot of hotel groups in the Cayman Islands, like a lot of real estate investments over there. And you can check his Wikipedia. That's quite a story. He gave up his US house to the Cayman Islands, and this US house became a residency for embassy for Cayman Islands, something like this. And he became like an ambassador of the Cayman Islands. In other words, he can live in the US in US lands, without being a US citizen, without paying US taxes. You start to understand who is this guy. He hates taxes, he lives abroad, but he wants to travel all around the world with his wealth, and he makes investment, real estate over there. He invested in debt in Brazil, in Greece, in Russia when the URSS government collapsed in Russia, the communist regime in the 90s. He made a lot of smart moves when it comes to investment, but not only stocks, debt, real estate, private equity deals. Okay, let me continue. He is extremely private. Yeah, I have found no interviews, no public statements, and he operates through offshore entities. Like a lot of people that lived in Cayman Islands, they want to be private. Yeah, they live over there for a reason. They want to avoid the taxes, they want to avoid the paparazzis, but they want to stay rich, so they make investments offshore through shells, public entities. Okay, now let's talk about the investment strategy, right? He has, he was the president of the family company when he was younger, and then in the 90s he started to invest. And what is his investing strategy? He is a long-term opportunistic investor that focuses on one, buying large stakes in undervalued companies. I will show you some examples a little bit in a few minutes. Two, he is pushing for shareholder-friendly actions like buybacks, dividends, or even restructuring. He is buying when companies are in distress. He is buying when the stock is down. And he is buying and pushing for more buybacks, more shareholder returns. Three, he holds for years and he is cashing out at a premium. Very good news for us Evolution shareholders. Just for full disclosure, my portfolio has 10% in Evolution. I bought the first position at 15%, and it has dropped and dropped because the price is dropping and dropping. So now that's 10% of my portfolio in Evolution AB. And that's very good news that we have Kenneth Dart as a long-term shareholder focused on buybacks and dividends and shareholder return, and focused on the long term. He will not try to sell Evolution to a private equity. He will not push for heavy activism to cut some operations. He wants shareholder returns. We are talking about this kind of guy, which is very good news if you want to make money, if you invest in Evolution. Unlike activist investors who fight publicly, Dart works behind the scenes. He rarely joins company boards, but has a strong influence due to his large shareholdings. Yes, a couple of months ago, the holding was quite large, but now 15%, it's even larger. Okay, now I have some examples for you. Ken Dart's track record in equities. Because he's a secretive person, you don't have a lot of examples, but I checked some articles. I even checked the Wikipedia page. I mean, that's completely public. You can check, and you see some examples. By the way, if you're looking for a complete framework to analyze stocks and build a strong portfolio, I have a coaching program. More on that at the end of the video. What is new in his portfolio? He is famous for holding British American Tobacco. He bought the stock in late 2020, officially. This is the official disclosure. And he owns 10% of this company. So similarly, when he buys big. He is buying a 10% stake of this company. And shortly after his investment in 2020, the company announced a big buyback program. That's strange. So now the company is repurchasing a lot of their shares, and they are giving a dividend. And I checked the price of British American Tobacco. I can show you. How can I zoom in? Okay, this is the price of American Tobacco for the past 40 years. Okay, so you have the chart since the 80s. You see that this is a company that is producing large revenue, large earnings, causing the stock price to go up over time. And since 2017, the stock has dropped. And as a Vulter, Mr. Dart is coming in 2020 and buying the stock. What has been the results of Mr. Dart so far? Well, not that great. I have another chart for you that I took a screenshot from Stock Unlock. How can I zoom out? Here. You have the performance of British American Tobacco versus the S&P 500. So, in light green here, you have the performance of BATS, British American Tobacco. Flat, up, down, up. And in gray, you have the performance of the S&P 500. Sorry if that's not clear. That's the best I could find. What you see is if we estimate that he bought in late 2020, he basically had a similar performance to the S&P 500. Not a great return. Basically, he could have bought the S&P 500. We will see in future years, because I remind you that he's a long-term shareholder. He's a long-term investor. Maybe in a couple of years, in the next 2 years, 3 years, you will see more buybacks from this company, and this company will outperform. But for the moment, you see outperform, underperform, flat. You see no major things happening. Okay, let me take another example, another investment he made. Let me zoom out. Okay, the second investment he made was Imperial Brands, a similar company in the tobacco industry. I think that's in the tobacco industry. Let me check. Imperial Brands. Let me check. I have a doubt now. Multinational headquarter, brand of choice, working at Imperial. Am I crazy? Why am I doubting? Sorry, let me just check real quick. Who owns tobacco company? Yeah, tobacco. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I'm doubting. Okay, this is a well-known company. This is the reason why I'm doubting. Imperial Brands. He bought the stake. Same thing. 2020, 2021, and he bought 7% of the company. So again, large ownership. When he buys big. And after he bought, a few quarters after, the company announced big buyback plans. And now I have again charts to show you. You see that this is the stock chart, the stock price of Imperial Brands for the past 20 years, 30 years. The stock is going down. Boom! Kenneth Dart is buying here massively. And now you see strong returns. You look at this. If you compare the returns of this company in light green compared to the S&P 500, you see a large outperformance. So now that was a winning bet. Okay, congrats, a winning bet. Okay, let me scroll down. That was for the new investments that this guy is known for. But we can check some old investments he made in the 90s. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned some debt investments. I'm not a debt guy, so maybe you have to continue the analysis at home. Like you can check Brazil, Greece, Russia, and maybe other countries. Okay, Argentina also you can check. But I'm a stock picking guy. This is a channel for stock pickers, so I just checked the equities investment he made. He made old investments, old in the 90s, like Freddie Mac, when nobody wanted to invest over there in 1991, and he bought a 10% stake in Freddie Mac for $300 million at the time. That was a big deal. Again, when he buys big. He bought 10% of the company, and he sold 3 years later, 2 years later, for $1.3 billion. That's a 300% gain. So again, I have some chart. I went back to the stock price of Freddie Mac at the time, and you see the timeline. You see at the bottom of the screen the time in 1990. The stock began to drop, and in 1991 it dropped. Who invested here? Our friend Mr. Dart. He invested over there, and then the stock went up and up and up and up and up, and he sold in 1994, so a triple or a quadruple really quick. Okay, perfect. So a very, very good investment from Mr. Dart. Let me continue. He made another old investment. That's what I could find on the internet. Salomon Brothers. Maybe you know Salomon Brothers because Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway were invested, and they were quite activist for this company. That's a very interesting story in case you want to know more about Warren Buffett's investment. Similar timeline. He invested in 1991 and he sold 3 years later. So at that time, he acquired 6% of Salomon. Again, when he buys big. 6% of Salomon, and he achieved a double, a triple, 200% return within 3 years. And I have some charts. Strangely enough, I couldn't find a lot of charts of Salomon Brothers at the time. In case, so the best chart I have found was an extract from Fortune from 97. It was an article about Salomon Brothers, and I found this stock chart of Salomon Brothers. Look at this, Salomon's stock price. You see that the chart starts in the late 80s, and in 1991 there was a scandal. This is not a video to show you what the scandal was about, but the stock price completely collapsed from $38 to 20-ish, 25. And who bought during this decline? Who took advantage of the situation? Our friend Mr. Dart. So he bought here, and he sold 3 years after this. If you look at the stock chart, you see here he should have bought at the bottom or around the bottom and waited 3 years calmly and sold at a triple. Wonderful gain. So what is similar to all these investments is that he bought the stock when the stock dropped like a rock, when the stock was not sexy. Even for British tobacco companies, the stock dropped and then he buys. The stock dropped for Imperial Brands and then he buys. For Freddie Mac, he dropped and then he buys, similarly to the scandal of Salomon Brothers. And now he's buying Evolution AB. I mean, that's very bullish for us. I see this as a very bullish sign for shareholders. Now he's buying Evolution AB. He bought in 3 tranches. First, he bought a 5% stake of Evolution AB in August 2024. He bought a second stake, an additional buy in October 2024. So now he is buying 5% more. That makes a stake of 10% of the company. And so here is the stock price, the stock chart of Evolution, right? 2024, here we go, 2024 over there. What's the half of here? He bought the first time around here. He bought a second time around here. Okay. And we learned a few days ago, when the company reported earnings, we learned that the company is implementing a buyback program. Look at this. In February 2025, so a couple of days ago, Evolution announced a new buyback program of 500 million euros. The timing aligns with Dart's history of pushing capital returns. Maybe he had an influence. Maybe yes, maybe not. Because the guy is private, we will never know. But maybe. I mean, Evolution AB has done buyback programs in the past. So maybe he didn't have influence. My guess is he will have more influence in the future to push for more buybacks. So that was for the latest news of buyback. And again, in February 2025, well, today actually, he bought more. And he bought, like now he owns 15% of Evolution AB, making him the largest shareholder. Before, there was a company, a capital group, that owned around 15% of Evolution AB, but this big fund sold some of their shares. So now, because this guy bought more, he is now the largest shareholder. So he bought, so as of today, here. Let's see. Now, I mean, history is a good friend for us. If you check the latest performance for other investments, the investments were fine. And he pushed for capital efficiency, more dividends, more buybacks. Let me continue. Given his track record, he may push for more capital returns. Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if the company, Evolution AB, is starting a new buyback program, a new one, even in 2025. They can take some of their cash and do another one, an enhanced buyback program. So, what does that 15% stake mean for Evolution AB? First, you can expect more shareholder-friendly moves. If Evolution's management isn't already aligned, that may push for larger buybacks or dividend increases. And we will not know. He's not an activist. You will not see, in my opinion, you will not see press releases of fighting, like you can say, for example, for Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a renowned activist, great investor, but quite public. You will have Twitter threads from Bill Ackman. From this gentleman Dart, I don't think you will see Twitter thread. You will see when the company Evolution AB will report earnings. Maybe they will announce a new buyback program. You will never know if somebody was behind the scenes. Second point, you can expect lower volatility, more institutional confidence. A long-term investor like Dart reduces downside risk, as his holdings signal confidence in the company. For sure, if you have a renowned investor buying your stock, you may add more confidence if you want to buy more, if you are in institutional funds. Again, possible long-term exit at a premium. Dart usually holds for years before selling when valuations peak. In other words, I don't expect Kenneth Dart to sell Evolution AB in 2025. Normally, if the past is a very good indicator of the future, normally the stock price rebounds, goes up, valuation comes back to normal, and then he can sell at a premium. But it will be a different debate in a few years. Okay, what do you have here? Final verdict. Does it matter? Yes. Dart's history suggests he will influence Evolution's capital allocation strategy. Evolution AB was quite vocal about their capital allocation framework. They are clear. They want to give dividends, to give buybacks. But now there is even a stronger conviction to give more dividends and more buybacks. You don't make stupid mistakes. You don't make stupid acquisitions. Buybacks. Very, this is exactly what we want as shareholders. The price is down, the valuation is cheap. Buybacks, dividends. Even you can cut the dividend and push for more buybacks, but that's a Swedish company. I wouldn't push too far. If you own Evolution AB, watch for more buyback announcements and dividend increases. If the stock price underperforms, Dart could increase pressure on management behind the scenes. We will never know. Kenneth Dart plays the long game. And that's it for all the information I have for this new gentleman that became the largest shareholder of Evolution. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you like this content, I have an investing coaching program. In this program, you will learn a complete investing process. You will learn how to find good stock ideas, how to properly value stocks, when to buy, when to sell, so that you can build a strong portfolio. Additionally, you will have access to my personalized guidance for long-term results. We will do weekly calls where we analyze stocks together, and you will have access to my private number available 24/7 for full support. If you are blocked, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. Click the first link in the description to get more information. You will get a video that explains how everything works completely for free. No need to sign up, no need for your email address. Just click the first link in the description and I'll see you on the other side.